And I was just writing and I wrote down three questions. I wrote down, how dare you question me? Then I wrote down, why are you calling me a liar? And then I wrote down, why do you think I'm a bad person? And it was one of those things where I actually pushed myself back from the desk and I just sat for a few minutes. And then I ran upstairs and just was letting myself relax in the recliner. And it was pretty late at night. I remember it was the NBA, the All-Star break was on, and it was the slam dunk tournament. And I was sitting in my recliner, and all of a sudden I just had this thought. And the thought was, do you want to know a secret? And it was one of those moments where I just pushed it off. And then it came back a few minutes later and said, do you want to know the secret? And I let it sit for just 30 seconds. And dude, next thing I know, I was in my childhood. I was in the bathroom of the house where we grew up
Wow.
and dropped right into the abuse I faced as a child that I didn't remember. I was abused by my father for years as a kid, and I had no idea. And I was dropped right into the middle of it to see it, to experience some of it. And, and a lot of people think that that's a moment that may break people, right? That, everyone came rushing to my aid. And the reality for me was it was a relief, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, it was like now I knew I wasn't broken. Now I knew I wasn't a worthless piece of shit, right? Because that's how I felt, right? I spent my whole life feeling worthless. Spent my whole life feeling broken. And that night, what changed for me was I realized that I could hide shit from myself. I realized that I could lie to myself.
It's amazing, isn't
And
it?
that night was the night where I started going, all right, what else am I hiding from myself?
It's amazing when you realize that like the brain does weird things. Like I remember to piggyback off of yours and just kind of support it. I remember when I was going through, I've done NLP training, so neuro-linguistic programming training. And I remember going through it, and I got introduced to it because I went to a Tony Robbins Date with Destiny conference and realized that's what he was, I got told that's what he was doing. And I think he mentioned it to somebody else, and it got concreted in. And anyways, and I remember going through it, and I was, during the training and everything, you're getting it done to you. And I was like in this massive growth phase coming out of that trip that I told you. And when you realize that the mind blocks traumatic things and reinterprets it to save you, and it's not it gets interpreted in so many different ways just to help you. Either it destroys you or it helps you or blocks it out. You start to realize, oh my God, I'm not actually who I am. I need to uncover those things so I can find the true Chris or the true Scott. And then once
Yeah,
you find that true Scott, it sucks during the time and it's hard as hell, isn't it, Scott?
yeah,
Then once
yeah.
you realize it, you're like, that's the true me. Okay, cool. Now what do I want to do with it?
Yeah. It's funny because everyone says it's really hard. And I agree, right? I had to face some stuff about myself that was really, really uncomfortable. But the hook is, and I say this to everyone, it's like, guess what? You already know. You're already carrying it, right?
It's in
It's
the
not
back of your
like you're
head.
gonna
It's
go
in that little
outside and
box in the back of your brain that is just festering and
yeah.
infecting everything else. But it's already there. Like you're already running off of that story. Now you get to decide once you identify it and you see it.